There's going to be a lot of technical stuff in here about the hardware and things on this old word processor before we see some more printing. So let's just start with something fun and watch it print. Well, that looks good. Let's get on with the rest of the video. Here's the Panasonic KX-E4500 word processor from 1994. It's quite the beast. It's 17 inches wide. The main part of the word processor is 8 inches tall, but with the monitor, the 9-inch monitor attached, it's 19 inches tall, and it's 16 inches deep, and it weighs 37 pounds. I've counted 73 regular keys and 5 different sliding management keys. There's a little switch here on the lower right side that adjusts the keyboard height, but not very far. You can see some of the notations on the keys, and some of these keys were obviously extremely well used because they've been overmarked with T's and R's and S's, and someone has gone and used an ink pen to make them more readable. The blue are code functions in conjunction with the code key. But oddly enough, I cannot find a code paper in on this. I can find a code eject, but no code paper in. Here's some of the code things up here. One of them looks like it would do a code paper in, but it doesn't. And it touts its spell correct and mail merge capabilities. I would never do mail merge if you had a form letter and you wanted to merge it with a mess of addresses. I would not be doing that. But spell correct, well, tell you the truth, I won't be using this. It's fun for a little vintage exploration, but it's nothing I'll be putting in use, I don't think. Easier just to print something out on my printer from my computer. It's not in terrible shape, although there's an obnoxious scratch in the plastic along that part of it. Someone has removed a label here, which I suspect was probably the business where this was. Probably some type of business inventory identifier maybe. And there is some yellowing on it, no doubt. If you look back there at the little post, you can see the difference between the yellow part at the top and the non-yellow part at the bottom. Around the left side we have our paper turn wheel. I don't know what you call it exactly. We have our on and off rocker switch, power switch, and we have our 3.5-inch floppy disk. You can see how the Monitors attached just with a wing nut and a couple posts and levers around the side. Looking around the back, you see some of the nomenclature. May 1994. There's the stand attachment. Equipment checked. 8/17/94. More badging. Our monitor cable. The monitor also has an equipment checked badge on it. Quite a beast. Looking inside, we can see the ribbon. You can see there's a correction ribbon too, although this one, it tries, but it just can't work. It corrects maybe 10% of a letter or a mistake. We might try and look at more of this in the end of the video. It's going to be hard capturing this old CRT screen without a lot of distortion. I've tried several cameras and frame rates and I just don't get it good, but what I wanted to show here was when you turn it on, and it gets brighter and brighter over several minutes, but there is a brightness switch right here where you can dim it down if you want to, all the way dark. I'm going to keep it up to the highest level. But yeah, getting a video of these old CRTs without the possibility of a direct output is going to be very difficult. There's the startup screen and the little thing that says low battery. I can get rid of that low battery warning by escaping out. Well, looking around inside, I noticed a thing about polarity, which implies batteries. So this must be the place for the batteries. I'm going to get a low battery warning on, probably for the backup memory, and those are original Panasonic, so I guess I will replace those. Alright, 3 new batteries, AA's. Button it back up, and hopefully I won't get that low battery alert message on the screen anymore. I'm pressing the shift and the help button. Should bring up some help for various things. We have some pages for help codes in the typewriter mode. And then in the word processing mode. And then there's a page for function. One thing this does not have, though, is tutorials, as near as I can tell. Just these basic function things. Whenever I try and load something to a disk or load something from a disk, I've got all kinds of disks. I have various formats, various densities. Drive just makes a terrible noise. Or if I try and format a disk. So you can see, I'm going to try and format this one, and you can see what the drive does. Let's push that in. Notice it doesn't make any noise on insertion. and then gives me an error message there, no disk. So I think that drive is broken. When I got the machine and had been using it for a while, eventually I saw on the monitor something that said low supply, and I wasn't quite sure what that meant, but eventually I decided it meant it wasn't going to do anything else until I changed a printer ribbon. And then I noticed where there should have been black ribbon there, it was red, and I had not noticed that from my position. So I had to figure out how to remove the ribbon, which kind of just pulls out. There's a notch here, and it just pulls out. And this was red at the time, but I had rewound it, so I lost that. And then when I was in here, I noticed then that was the two spools for the correction tape. And those hadn't been working, so I wanted to replace those too. So I ordered a new set of ribbons, correction, and new ribbon, which is pretty much the same. Looks the same anyway, I haven't tried it yet. And of course then I wanted to see how to change the correction tape and look at the direction of the correction tape spool over and behind that and around here. So let me try that. Alright, let's see if I can lift that off. Try and remember the way it went. From behind. Well, I have that off. I notice I can see the daisy wheel there. Don't quite know how I would get it out. Got to be a way though. I guess I just lift up on it. There we go. And I notice this is interesting here. There's a little lever here that says 1 and 2 in different positions. That might have to do with something on the keyboard switch that says KB1 and KB2. Maybe keyboard 1 and keyboard 2. I'm not sure. Okay, so I got the new erase ribbon in. I had to stop the camera and get it out of the way so I could get in there and do that. Alright, this has a little notch there to fit in down here. And going like that, maybe. Does that look right? Okay, I think I got my problems fixed. I wasn't really setting the ink ribbon in exactly right between the guides where it's supposed to be. But now that I figured that out, I think we're good to go. I did figure out how to get the auto paper insertion. It is code A, but I have to move the monitor out of the way to get it in here. That's kind of a pain. And it takes a little bit of doing. And it goes a little too far. But it does work, as promised. Let's give it a try.
Sorry I'm so slow. I've got the camera between me and the keyboard, and it's causing problems. Oops, I misspelled Panasonic, but let's try checking my spell correct ribbon, had I caught that at the time. All right, T-E-S, let's do an R instead of a T. R, I don't want an R, I want a T, don't I? So let's erase that. And there we go. It looks pretty darn good. Spell correct is done. I don't have a low supply warning on the monitor anymore, so looks like I'm good to go for some more testing. Alright, I think I figured out the keyboard 1 and keyboard 2 thing. When you're on your regular keyboard, this green switch that says 1 is towards you. Putting it in keyboard 2, you get access to some of these other notations and some keys where there's more than, like using a shift plus in a normal keyboard 1 brings you your normal shift keystrokes. Going to keyboard 2 and putting that into keyboard 2 gives you access to some of those other tertiary ones. So now we're in keyboard 2. There's a little 2 up there. And that one doesn't work. I don't know if that's a function of a mechanical problem or maybe that's not accessible on this particular daisy wheel. I don't know. But some of them don't exactly work the way you would expect. And other ones do. You can see that those tertiary functions show up, although not all of them. Like I say, that might be a function of a mechanical problem, or maybe you need a different optional daisy wheel that has those on it. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to do some keyboarding here. First, let's check out the main menu, which you need to do if you're going to use the word processor. I can create a document, I can edit a document, I can list a document, print a document, do things with the disk. Of course, my disk drive is broken, so we won't get that. I can delete a document or rename a document. Escape out of this, create. Let's list my documents on the display. Panasonic 1, which is 848 characters, and let's escape out of this. So when you do code Q, you can get memory left down here, 24,738. So adding that Panasonic to it, I think it's 25,587 total or something when you start. 24,000, yeah, I guess 25,586 when you start, I guess. I can escape out of that number there. All right, let's go back to the main menu. You print a document, we'll edit a document. What was that document? Panasonic 1. There it is. All right. I'm going to try some keyboard typing on Panasonic. I'm a two-fingered typist, by the way, so I'm pokey. And if you want to clear an entire line, you can go to, let's see, what is it? Code and quick erase on the keyboard, and it's gone. So that's one way you can do that. So let's try this Panasonic 2. Alright, now let's put Panasonic 2 up there. That's the document I'm at. And it shows the columns and the line numbers. Disk. If my disk drive did work, I could read it, write it, list it, or more. But I have tried these. Delete, rename, print. Load from 1DD Panasonic disk. I wanted to try and find some of those disks on eBay, but I didn't. I thought maybe my disk drive will only work with those. That seems a little silly, but you never know. Maybe that's the case. Escape out of these, create, edit, list, print, print text, text linking. That's that mail merge if you had a form letter and you wanted to get a list of addresses on it. Or you can delete from a queue, which I suppose. You can edit another text while printing. Edit. Panasonic 1. Okay. In this you can see I've typed in a lot of the basic things you get in bold type by pressing on the keyboard. The keys that are in the lower left that have 3 X's with an underline, that will underline the next word. But then you have to make sure you get out of that before you go to the next word, or it'll just keep underlining. And shift plus those 3 X lines gives you a double line. And if you want to bold as well, you need to do your Control B before each word. We have microspacing, we can have 10 CPI on letters, double underlining. So I've done all those tests. And at the top, it'll show you what format you're in right there. See, now that I've gone there, that is no longer accurate. So now it's just inserting spelling, and there it shows that I'm bolding it with underlining. I pre-typed this so I wouldn't have to sit and fiddle with it while you were watching. And of course it gives you lines and pages, as you might expect. And boy, I don't know if you can hear that, but it is windy outside. Well, I'm not sure when we edit this how much of this screen you'll be able to see with all the flickering. Hopefully it's some. Okay, I'm going to do a main menu, and I'm going to create a new document, TES testing, and let's do the spell check. You'll notice it highlighted the word spell, so we can come over here. When you see that highlighted, the Houghton Mifflin Dictionary inside has identified it as a problem. So there's a key on here that spells spell correct, and it will give me alternatives, skip it, insert it, or quit. A could be alternatives. Spell, spill, spiel, spoil, or spool. So obviously you want spell. And select or escape. We'll select it. And keep going. Let's redo that. G-O-I-N. And it's blinking. So let's do another spell correct. Alternatives, skip, insert or quit. A. Machine is busy, and now it's giving me alternatives because it doesn't know. Going, gown, gain, grin, join, gin, going. That's the one we'd want. Gone and goon. So we'll scoot the cursor over here, change that to going. Okay, I've created this document in testing. I just want to watch it print out again, something different than what I showed at the very beginning of the video. So we've got a document typed. Let's hit the print button and see what happens. Lots of fun. I want to do a couple more things on the keyboard before we get out of here. This has been a very long video. I need some help from some people. Here on this switch there's an L and an H. I'm not sure. Does that mean low pressure on the keystrokes or high pressure on the keystrokes? I know there's a typewriter convention for that. If you were using carbon paper, you would set your keystroke to high pressure, and if not, low pressure, but I don't see what exactly good that would do on a word processor. I don't know. A lot of these various codes and things are only applicable when you're in the word processing mode, but I want to try the quick erase on a typewriter mode versus the correction backspace. Alright, let's type in mistaken, and let's do quick erase and see how that does. Shift, quick erase. So it does take out mistaken just fine. This is a regular space test. Then I'm going to do code and microspace. This is a micro space test. And the micro spaces are smaller. This is a 10 CPI test. Change that lever to 12. This 12 CPI tests. Now 15. There's another one, PS, but I don't know what that is. I'll just try it. This is a PS test. I'm not quite sure what that is. It seems to be indented, though. I don't know what else that is. Right now, we're set to single space, like so. Now, we're set to double. Double space, like so. Yep, we can even go to a triple space. It's too much for me. I remember in school when you had to turn in a paper, everybody wanted to know, well, does it have to be single space or can we double space it? Maybe triple space would be for those people. Well, I think I've worked through as much of this old word processor as I'm going to right now. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Bye.